The same copy I have given you. The same hard copy I have given you. What is this XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Now, it is also a tag-based programming, like your HTML, like your Visual Force, like your Lightning. It is also a tag-based language. Now, it doesn't have any predefined structures. It is a user-defined data. You are supposed to define your own structure. It doesn't have any predefined structure. Let us say if you go with a programming language like C, we are supposed to specify everything like a data and function. If you go to the your Apex programming, everything should be in a class format. Everything should be in the form of a class. Okay. Now if you go to your Visual Force, you are supposed to specify Apex colon, but it is a self-describing language. It doesn't have predefined format. It is a self-describing language. Then all the tags in the XML are not predefined, they are user defined. No predefined components, no predefined tags for the XML. Everything needs to be defined by the user. That's the reason I say self-describing. Because it is self-describing, this is supported by every programming language that is available in the market. XML is supported by every programming language that is available in the market. It uses the DTD format for describing the data. Okay, previous now the people are using schema format. Initially it was a DTD, but the people now are using schema. Okay, so now what is an XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It is one of the format of exchanging the data across the network. XML is one of the format of exchanging the data across the network. Now I told you JSON is one of the format. Similarly, XML is also one of the format of exchanging the data between the systems or across the network. Now, when you are going for a XML, we need to understand every element is a node. Every element we are going to call it as a node. If you look at this, now this is a structure. In this structure, node is a node, to node, to node, from node, journey node, heading node, reminder node, body node. Every element is a node. Out of these nodes, one of the node will be a root element, rest will be a child element. In this structure, what is the root element? Node is the root element. So when you are going for a XML, every element is defined as node. Every element is considered as a node. Every element is considered as a node. One of the node will be your root element. So in the above example, node is the root element. Who are the child? To, from, heading, body are the child elements. Okay. Now, when you are going for the XML, there are few rules that we need to understand. What are the few rules? There will be only one root element. Second one, that should be properly nested. Second one is what? Properly nested. What do you mean by properly nested? Inner element should be closed first, followed by the outer elements. Simply, whatever the rules we are using in the Visual Force, exactly the same rules will be applied on XML. So your Visual Force is what? Let me make it simple. Let me go to your Visual Force integration account. Now, if I go to Visual Force, look at this. If I give Apex page block, I'm giving here apex page block section. Every opening element should have a closing element. XML says every opening element should have a closing element. Every opening element should have a closing element. But now apex page block has a closing element. Page block section also have a closing element. But what does it mean? They should be nested properly. They should be nested properly, which means inner elements has to be closed first, followed by the outer elements. Inner element should be closed first, followed by the outer element. So apex page block section should be closed first, then followed by the page block. Right. Next. Now, if the opening element is page block section S small I have given, the closing element also should have section S small. In the Visual Force, is not a case sensitive, but whichever the element you have opened, similar element should be closed. You can write S as a capital or small, no problem. But if you write a small, closing also should be small. If you write a capital, closing also should be capital. Are you getting my point? So it is a case sensitive. It is a case sensitive. Whatever the element we are writing, similar closing element should be there. Every opening element should have similar closing element. Now I told you like now, S I gave small, I gave capital here, they say mismatched. Mismatched. Right. That's what I'm trying to convey here. That's what I was trying to convey here. Look at this. XML tags are case sensitive. If I given capital message, closing also should be capital message. M is small, so it's an error. Small I have given, yes, it is correct. It is failed because they are not matched. The second element I told, XML elements must be properly nested. I gave B, I, closing also should be done as I, B. If it is a BI, inner element should be closed first, followed by outer element. So here I gave BI, so it is a incorrect, and this is the correct format. I hope you are clear. And the third one, we are going to understand. Look at the point. If you are looking at this example, who is the root element? Page is the root element. Apex page. I have a child apex form. Title, example, now what are these? Attributes. What are these? Attributes. Element has an attributes. Element has an attributes. Element has a attributes. Element has a attribute. The same story I am giving here. Page block, title, help text, help URL, help text, help URL, and we are closing it. Now, this is the attribute of the element. Attributes of the element. The same story I am trying to give you here. Boss, we had a root element, bookstore, child element, book. Book has an attribute called cooking. So bookstore, child element is book. What is this category? Attribute. Title, language. What is this? Attribute. Are you getting my point? So elements may have attributes. So root element, child element. In the element we may give attributes. Like how we are giving properties for a Visual Force component. All they become what? Attributes. All they become what? All of them become attributes. Here also we may give attributes. How we are giving? Root element, child element is book. For the book what we have? Attribute, category. Under the book we have title, author, year, price. Right, boss? So title is the value, author is the value, year is the value, price is the value. For title, there is one more attribute called language. So every element may have its own attributes. Every element may have its own attributes. I just gave you exactly the same format of your Visual Force. Whatever the structure we are giving in the Visual Force, whatever the structure we are writing or using in the Visual Force, exactly the same rules are applied on XML. That's what I told. When you're taking a Visual Force space, now every visual element in the Visual Force should obey XML format. What is that XML format? Every opening element should have corresponding closing element. Inner element should be closed first, followed by outer element. Then it is a case sensitive. Then the element may have its own attributes or may have its own comments. Attributes or comments. I hope you are good with this. Right, as simple as that. As simple as that. Now look at the format. Look at the format. Now we are trying to understand the same in terms of Apex programming. In general, XML I have given. So in general, how you define XML? College. Now we are giving the data. So I have taken this. So in this, what is the root element? College. The chain elements are student and faculty. Subchain. We have subchains. I hope you are clear. So this is how we are defining. So straight away I am defining. How do you generate this? Using Apex programming. Using Apex, how do you generate this or how do you deserialize it? Using the Apex program, how do you generate it? How do you deserialize it? So serializing and deserializing using Apex programming. Serializing and deserializing the data using Apex programming in the form of XML. So serializing the data, deserializing the data using Apex program. Serializing the data or deserializing the data using Apex program. Right. So if you want to serialize or deserialize the data in the form of JSON, we got system.json dot serializer, JSON dot deserializer, JSON dot strict deserialize strict, or JSON dot serialize pretty, okay, JSON dot deserialize untyped. Like this, so many predefined methods and classes we have. Like system.json generator, system.json parser, right? We got so many methods like this. Now, if you want to serialize and deserialize in the form of XML, then also Salesforce has given some predefined classes. What are those predefined classes? Right? Document class and XML node class. Now, all the JSON classes are defined under the namespace of system. All the JSON classes are predefined under the namespace of system. System.json, system.json deserializer, system.json generator, system.json parser, system.json token. So all the Apex classes which are required for our operation, they are defined on the namespace of system. Similarly, all the classes required for the serialization and the deserialization of data in the form of XML, we had a namespace called DOM. All the classes required for serialization and deserialization of your data in the form of XML. Salesforce has mentioned all those classes under the namespace of DOM. So what is the namespace? DOM, D-O-M. For JSON, what is the namespace? System. System is the namespace for the JSON. DOM is the namespace for the XML. So in the DOM namespace, what are the classes we have? Document and other one is XML. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Okay. Now at this level, you are supposed to understand two primary points: namespace, prefix. What is this namespace? What is this prefix? A basic example. Look at it. Basic example. Look at this. I'm just showing the existing structure. Understand this. Okay. Now look at this. We are giving a table. It is a self-describing, right? When you say XML is a self-describing, what is the root element they have taken? Table. In the chain elements they have tr, td, td, tr. They have taken one more XML. Root element is table, name, width, length. Both the elements have root element called table. It is a self-describing. When it is a self-describing, I can put whatever I want. But both the elements have root as table. Now, if I want to read the data, XML files are given to me. I want to read the data. When I say read the data of a table, which table data I have to read? There are two elements with the same name. When I say read the data of a table, which table I am referring to? Which table I am referring to? If it is the first table, I get tr, td. If it is the second table, I get width and height. If it is the second table, I get a width and height, length. So what is this? Both of them are two different. Bodies of the elements are different, but the elements are going to be same. Whenever I say table, what I am referring to? Am I referring to the first structure or second structure? There is a conflict. Let me make it simple. Now, previously, this is not integration, regular classes. If it is a regular class, when I say batch 312, Ravi from that batch 312 will be responding. Now, batch 310, when I say Ravi, from 310 batch, Ravi will be responding. Now, it is an integration batch. Now, people from different batches are sitting here. Now, if I say Ravi, who will respond? Now, in this, Ravi of 310 batch is there, Ravi of 312 batch is there. When I say Ravi respond, who will respond? There is a conflict. There is a conflict. Previously, there is no conflict because we are referring to Ravi from 310 batch. We are referring to Ravi from 312 batch. But now, people are sitting together. When I say Ravi, I have a conflict. I have a conflict. What is this? To avoid this conflict, what we are doing? To avoid this conflict, what we are doing? We are using a namespace. What is the namespace? Batch 312 is namespace. So all the people of of morning 7 a.m. batch, I gave a namespace called batch 312. All the people of 8:30 batch, I gave a namespace called batch 311. So when I am calling Ravi from batch 311, Kumar from batch 311, there is no conflict. We are able to retrieve it fast. If I don't give batch number, if I say Ravi, in all the batches, there may be multiple Ravis. Which Ravi are you referring to? Are you getting my point? Which Ravi you are referring to? So there will be a conflict. To avoid the conflict, we are going for namespace. To make it more understandable to you, let us take our Apex example. Do you have messaging? Do you have messaging class? Okay. Now look at this. When I say messaging, now there are different classes here. Messaging class, which contain inbound, outbound, send email message. So this class is containing the methods required for sending a single or mass email message. Messaging is a class which contains methods for sending or receiving the single or mass email message. But I have one more message class. Now this message class contains what? This is also a message class. This class contains what? So we are having a multiple classes with a name called message. When you look at them in the messaging namespace, they have the methods required for sending and receiving the emails. When you look at this message class, this has a methods required to throw messages on the page. Maybe a success message, error message, failure message, right? So we have multiple classes in the same API with the name called message. Whenever I am calling a message, which class are you referring to? Are you referring to a class from email programming? Or are you referring to a class from Apex pages? Right? To avoid this conflict, what we are doing? Messaging.message, Apex pages.message. We are indicating, boss, we are invoking a class of message from namespace of Apex pages.message. We are invoking a class from namespace of message. So what will happen in this case? What will happen in this case? If I give it like this, now the conflict is removed. Whatever the conflict we had, the conflict is removed. So whatever the conflict we had, the conflict is removed. Are you getting my point? So this is to remove the naming conflicts. Namespace is used to remove the naming conflicts. Now table 1, I told employee. Table 1 I told employee. Table 2 I am giving as student. Then what will happen?
No. Your voice is not coming, sir.
So we are mentioning table 1 from employee, table 2 from student. Then automatically what happened? I say employee table, I say student table. That's how the conflict will be removed. Right. Now look at this concept here, everyone. Look at this. Generally, when you go for a namespace, it will be URL. Generally, namespace will be what? URL. It will be URL. Let us say your namespace is going to be URL. So I cannot every time use like this. Look at the point. If I take a namespace as now I have to give here as what? So I have to prefix everywhere this namespace. Everywhere I have to prefix this namespace. So if I have to prefix this namespace everywhere, then what happened? I'll be finding it difficult. So there is a reason what we are giving. We are giving prefix instead of this. We are going to use a prefix. Define this XML space with a prefix called capital. So wherever I have to give capitalinfo.com, I'm simply giving what? Now it is simplified. So what is this? In place of namespace, we are using the prefix symbol. Are you getting my point here? Same namespace only. If I have to write a URL, it will be lengthy. So that URL is referred by shortcut name, which I am using as a prefix. That namespace is referred by this prefix. I hope you are getting my point. Right. That's what these people are also using. So the same story we are going to apply here. Why did we discuss this point here? Because at the time of creating any element, they'll be asking name of the element, namespace of the element, prefix of the element. In case if you are defining any prefix, in case if you are defining any namespace, give me. So element with namespace may be there, may not be there. Are you getting my point? In case if you want to define a namespace, we can also pass namespace and prefix as a parameter. Did you get my concept? Am I clear with this? Am I clear with this? So what is the purpose of namespace? That is to avoid. Right. Now look at this. What is the namespace we are using? TS. SOAP is the namespace and shortcut name is TS. SOAP is the namespace, shortcut name is the TS. XML namespace, SOAP. That is prefixed. This SOAP is prefixed is TS. Right. So whatever we are going to use, right. So instead of writing a SOAP, I am using what? TS. I am writing what? TS. Are you clear about this? So let us start a quick example here. So let me create public string. So what we are trying to do? Serialization. In the serialization, here dom dot document first we are supposed to create a document object, then dom dot xml node create a root element. We are supposed to create a root element. Dom dot xml node root equal to document dot create. Now we are going with create root element. Go back to this. So here we had create root element. Create root element. What are the three parameters we are passing? What are the three parameters? Name. First I am giving namespace null, prefix null. Now what is created? Root element is created. Once the root element is created, I was supposed to add child element for it. Once the root element is created, I was supposed to add child element for it. Name, null and null. How do you add a child element? Okay, first let us see the output of this. Result equal to dot to XML. Whatever I created, convert it into XML string. Go to the every XML file will start with XML version 1.0. Every XML file will start with XML version 1.0 and encoding UTF-8. So XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. What is the format I have given? Name. I have given name. Name of the element is. Then I am giving here now we are trying to define structure. Go back to the page, have a preview. So what happened here? XML namespace, you are not given any prefix. So they have taken by default prefix as namespace NS0. That's what they are using. If you don't mention it, they are taking a default value. Instead of that, you can define your own namespace prefix. What is your prefix? What is the output? Prefix is cap. So cap colon name XML namespace cap. What is referred? Capital.info.com is referred with cap, right? What is the prefix? Cap. Namespace is capital.info.com. I hope you are clear. We are creating an element with namespace prefix. Now I don't need all this simple structure I am creating. We are going to the next one. We are supposed to create a child element. DOM dot LName equal to root dot add child element. Root is one of the element. To that element we are adding a child. We are trying to add child element. For the root we are adding a child element. One more child element I want to add. Child element is what? Last name. At the same time we are supposed to add value to it. LName dot add text. So for the root we created one child and we added a value for it. So look at this. For the root element is last name, value is. So we are adding everything in the form of string. Then how do you create? DOM dot right fm dot add text. This is what we created. So for the root element we have created two child elements, LName and FName, and these are the values. Go back and check. This is what we got. Name, last name, first name are the child elements of root. Are you clear about it? Any query on this? Clear? Okay. So shall we do an example on this? So people can create this example. Let us do this example. Let us create this example. Let us create this example, everyone. So let us do this example. public string. We are serializing or deserializing? We are getting the object in the form of XML. Done. Document. Top one we are taking as a doc. Root dot create doc dot create root element college. Then root dot add what is the value we are supposed to add? Name dot add then again name we have got again. What are the other two values I give? Phone address. Root dot add then address root dot add then what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to add a child element for the address. So dom dot XML node city equal to address dot right. Then we're going to say city dot add right. Let us go to the next one. Address dot we have state dot add text node state dot add text node. So we have TC. This is how we have. Then we are going to convert into is equal to XML string. Right, boss? We just identified what is the root element, what is the child element, what is the value. As simple as that. It's just a parent child. Now, if you want to add any attribute, We have taken a notes. How do you add an attributes? If you want to add an attribute, let us say we have taken create a root element. For the root, I want to add an attribute. Add what? Set attributes. I want to set the attribute. What is the attribute? Code. Root. Set attribute. So we are giving set attributes. For the element, if you want to set the attributes, how they will be represented here? This is how we receive. That college, code is an attribute, university is an attribute. Then we had a child element called name, phone, address. Are you getting my point? So we have element with attributes. Let me organize the data. Now, this is the code what I received. Now look at this. College, code is an attribute, university is an attribute, name, phone, address, city, state. So in case if you want to set an attribute, we are going to give element dot set attribute. If you want to add a child element dot add child. I hope you are good with this example. Clear for everyone? Right. This is generalized. Let us see how it can be included in the Apex programming. Let us see how this can be achieved in the Apex programming. Let us say from Java application, from Java, they're entering the customer name. Now we have backend application as Salesforce, front-end application as Java. Let us take an insurance application. Now we have distributors, we have the application. Now distributors and agents who are getting the customers, who are helping us to sell the policies, those people have access to Java portal. The front-end distributors are logging into Java portal through which they are entering the data or retrieving the data. Now those people entered customer policy number or the customer ID they entered. When they entered the customer ID, now I need to give customer data along with the policies what he has. Now we have a Java portal where distributor is accessing the information about the customer's policies from the Java portal. Now distributors are given username, password on Java side. Backend entire data is centralized in Salesforce. So the distributor is going to enter the data in the Java application. This is the customer ID. When I give customer ID, it has to go to the Salesforce, write a SQL query, get the data about customer and the corresponding policies what he has, display them in the Java application. Now, in my requirement, I was supposed to send the data in the form of XML. So, what is the role of Salesforce in this case? When somebody is requesting data, in the Salesforce, we have to write a query, identify whether data is there or not. If data is there, run the data in the form of XML. This is my requirement. I hope you got my point. So, this is the requirement. So, in this requirement, Salesforce is providing the data in the form of XML, which Java people are going to use and display in the VF page. Right, boss? Now, how you are creating the data in the form of XML? So, because everybody has to practice, I will take account object and a contact object. So that they are standard object, everybody can practice this example. Now, how I want to send the data? The data which I want to send has to be like this. Customer name, give company name, Pro, industry, phone number, person, contact person. There may be multiple contacts, right? There I gave an example of customer with the policies. Here I am giving the example of company with a list of contacts. Both would be the same, right? At the end of the game, I want to send parent-child data. So this is how I want to send the data. On the top, if still want, you can give status. Now, how many persons? 3 persons. This is how we are giving. This is how we are giving the data. So company, header, and corresponding. This is how I was supposed to send the data to the client. Now I am trying to achieve this functionality through Apex programming. Okay. Right now we are just giving XML format. Down the line we write web service with XML. Okay. Now look at this example, everyone. Right. Let us take an example. So at the end of the game, I'm giving search text. Now we are trying to write a query, list of accounts equal to select ID, name, phone, industry, select name, phone, contacts from account where name equal to so I'm writing a query to get the corresponding data. Now let us DOM dot document. DOM dot XML node equal to doc dot create root element. In the root element, what I was trying to do? Company. You cannot insert null values, boss. That you need to remember. The value of an element cannot be a null. Then we are going with root dot set attribute name. What is that name? I know that I'm going to get a single record. I can take straight away account. Put it as acc dot name. Attribute. Then we have name, industry, phone, acc dot. So we had this. Then we are supposed to create a child element. DOM dot document root dot add child element. Then you're supposed to add a couple of elements here. What is that? If you want, you can put them like a attributes instead of sub elements. I'll put like a attributes. Dot set attribute status dot attributes count. What is the count? Or persons are acc dot contracts dot. Right. Next we had what was the bug here? XML node. I have given document, right? Okay. Now, if there are any contacts, then I want to add it. So check whether there are any contacts or not. If there are any contacts, we are going to get it. I told everything is going to be set in the form of string. So I have to convert them into string. Every value is set in the form of string. In the XML, every value is set in the form of string. Anything plus string is what? String. Then I'm giving if acc dot contacts dot then I told get the value. Then check it for then I'm going to say you're adding a contacts. That's equal to root dot root dot add child element, person dot add child element, then we had one more, we had so we have created 3 elements. Then we have name dot add text node, c dot so this is how we created. So finally, what is this? We got a account data and a status information. If there are any contacts, we are adding the contacts. Person. If there are any contacts, we are adding the person. Person dot add child element. Person dot add child element first name null, then add child element. So there is some bug here. What was that? It is not about contacts. So here we had exist add child element. Person dot add child element. Why add child element is not there? Person. Now we have XML node root dot add child element. Person dot add child. 1 second, boss. ELEMENT. Okay. There is a bug. Right. So this is how we created. Finally, this I need to convert in the form of XML and give it. So how do you convert in the form of XML? Result equal to doc dot to XML. So when you are giving some search text, I'm writing a query, getting the data, giving the reply in the form of XML. Then we are giving form. Value equal to what is the method name we have given here? Oops. All this should be a method. Because the search has to happen dynamically. So suppose you give result ID equal to 1. Let me take any one account which has contacts. Jenny Point, yes. People create some meaningful data, boss. Only one contact is here. No issue. This is how we are getting the data. If you look at this, so this is how we got. Company name, industry, phone, header, status, success, persons are one person, first name, last name, phone number. I hope you are good with this. So this is how the response is sent to those people. Those people are supposed to deserialize and use it. Are you getting my point? So I told you, when you are sending any data across the network, it has to be in the form of string only. It has to be in the form of string. So we are sending in the form of JSON string or XML string. When you are sending the data across the network, it has to be in the form of string. So either I have to send in the form of XML string or JSON string. Right, boss? I hope you got the requirement. Okay. So till now, we have seen how to serialize the data. Now let us understand how do you deserialize the data. Now the same requirement. Let us say whenever any new record is created. Now we had Amazon, we had a Salesforce at the backend. Somebody is logging into Amazon website, placing an order in the Amazon. Any order placed in the Amazon should be stored back to the Salesforce. The front end, they are giving a Java portal where the people are logging into Java portal, they are entering the data and they are saving. Any order created in the Java, that should be automatically created in the Salesforce. Any order created in the Java, that should be automatically created in the Salesforce. Now what is happening? Now the Java people are giving you the data in the form of XML. Java people are giving the data in the form of XML. So what a Salesforce guy has to do? Whatever the XML you have given, take that XML data, deserialize it, get the required fields and create a record in Salesforce. Now, previous example, you are a provider. You are the provider, you converted the data in the form of XML and you have sent to them. Now let us say you are a consumer now. Somebody is sending you data, you have to take the data, deserialize it and use it. Now when you are a consumer, you get a XML string. They are going to send you a response in the form of XML string, which you are supposed to deserialize it and use it. Now we need to understand how to deserialize this data. How to deserialize the XML data. So let us look at a few examples of deserialization. Now let us look at deserialization. When you want to deserialize, what we require? First we require the XML string. If you want to deserialize, we require XML string. So whatever the XML string they are sending, that should be deserialized. Whatever the XML string they are sending, that need to be deserialized. Let us understand how to deserialize this. If you want to deserialize, you need to understand two methods. One is load. What is the first method we have? Load. What is the load? Load the string. Load the XML string. Load the XML string. Look at this. Load. Whatever the string you want to convert, load that. Load the string. Then once you loaded the string, you are going to get the root element. If you know the root element, I can get the child elements. Get a root element. When you say get root element, it is going to give you root element. After that, get the child elements. It is going to give you list of child elements. Simple. Load, get root element, get a child element. If you want to read the value, we have set attribute. Now we say get attribute. You have set the attribute. Now we say get attribute. I hope you are clear with this. Set attribute, get attribute. Okay. I'll give just quickly 2 elements I'm going to give. So let me create a basic example. Let us make it simple. Public string public. So we are going to give public void convert. So first we are supposed to do dom dot document load XML string. Load the XML string. In the document, we are loading the XML string. Then what I told, get the root element. Root equal to doc dot get. You got the root element. Now you want to say result equal to get name. Get the name of the element. Right. Once you got it, get the child element. Dom dot XML node. Child may be one or multiple, I'm not sure. So if you know, see, whenever somebody is giving a response to you, they give a sample response. Looking at the sample response, we can deserialize it. Okay. So here we are not having any sample response, I'm directly creating. But generally the web service, when somebody is giving a web service, they will tell you, this is the request you are to make it. This is the input you have to give it. This is the output what I'm going to give. Sample response will be given. So looking at the sample response, we'll deserialize it. Now here, dom dot XML node sales equal to root dot get all the child elements. If you got the child elements, how do you refer to one by one? XML node child. We have you can give br or /n. Whatever the child elements we have, we are taking one by one child element. So to the mothers. What are the values we have? Child element, get text node, get children, get name, get node type, get parent, get text. We can say instead of giving the story, I can give it like this. Right. So what did I do in this case? Understand this point. First we got the root element. Whatever the root element is there, that we got it. Document dot get root element. Once we received the root element, I told get name. When I say get name, what it is going to give you? It's written the name of the element. So what is the value of get text? What is the purpose of get text? Get text will give you value of the element. Name of the element, value of the element. Get child elements. This will return list of child elements. For the keyword node. This is what I have done. So when I told get child elements, list of childs I got. Take one by one child element. Take one by one child element. Then write. Take one by one child element. Then write the context. What is the context? For loop. You are writing a for loop. When you are writing a for loop, you are writing a for loop, taking one by one element. You are writing a for loop and taking one by one element and saying get the name of the element, get the text of the element. People follow this. Root element has a number of child elements. Write a for loop to refer to one by one child. One by one element. Childs. And get name and value. Now I'll display this in the VF page. We had page block or input text. Value equal to search text. Then I had convert effects input text area. Then I have here I'm just creating the structure for getting a proper UI. Don't ask me to explain what is panel grid and all this stuff. By now, I hope you are clear. Where did you use this panel grid? Where did we use this? At the time of creating a multi-select. When you are creating a multi-select quick list, list and set example, combination of list and set, multi-select quick list example we have done. Right. So I have created a structure in this format. This is how we created. Now here I am creating name, so this is the XML string what I have given. I want to serialize it. What we received here? Name, last name is Maila, first name is Satish. Whatever the data you have given, we have deserialized the data and we are printing it. So what did I do? Get the root element. Once you got the root element, get the child element, get text, get name. Name will give the name of the element, text will give value of the element. I hope you are clear. So what was that? Simple format. While creating also you have created root element, add the child element. While using also get the root element, get the child element. While using also get the root element, get the child element. While creating also create a root element, add a child element. While using also get the root element, get the child element. Add a text node, get text. Add a text node, get text. And set attribute, get attribute. I hope you are good with this example. People are good with this example. Followed or not? Followed or not? Right? Be active, boss. That is 7:30.
Satish, I have one query.
Yeah, go ahead. What is your query?
So here you are dynamically retrieving the data, right?
See,
You are getting the element,
now,
getting the child
this
element.
XML,
But while doing here,
first thing, this XML is coming from third party. When you go to web service, this XML will be coming from third party. Now, as I have not done the web service yet, I have taken the input from the user. But basically, when you go for web services, that XML, whatever this thing I have taken here, please put your mic. Where I'm giving here, whatever the data I'm giving here, this will be coming to me from third party system. As you're not integrated with the third party, right now we are taking as a input from the user. Right? This is the first question. Yeah. What is your second query?
okay, you are passing the value here. We're supposed to get dynamically everything.
That's what when you go for a web service, when you integrate with a third party, you get it dynamically. But we didn't learn how to integrate with the third party now, right? That is the reason I'm taking as UI. When you go to the web service programs, there I'll be getting the data dynamically. Okay?
Okay, Satish.
Now, as I have not done the web service set, I'm assuming that whatever the value I entered in the input text is coming from third party. When you go to the web services of HTTP and SOAP API and REST API, then we get the data from third party, which we are going to deserialize it, right? Okay. So next.
Satish, I just have one question.
Yes.
Means where we store this XML
See,
data?
when you get the data, it is in the variable. Once you get the data, it is stored in a variable. With the data, what we do is your business requirement. Whether you want to create a record, whether you want to delete a record, whether you want to display, it is up to your choice. Based on that, the operation will be performed. See,
means my question is, suppose we are getting this XML data from Java application. So after receiving data from Java application
Make
in
it
Salesforce,
yeah.
where we store this
See,
XML
boss.
data?
Again, I repeat my answer.
Hello.
When you make a request, web service will give a response. Response will be stored
Okay.
in the variable. How will you store the data in the Apex classes? Any data you want to store in Apex class, how will you store? Within the variables only, right? Now you are trying to take a data from a database, wrote a SQL query, we received a list of record. How did you store? You created a variable. Now in the VF page, I entered the data. You want to store this data. How will you store? Variable only. In Apex class, let the data come from anywhere. It will be stored in the variable. First we put them in the variable. We are going to deserialize it. Then as per your requirement, you are going to use it. Any data that comes to the Apex class will be in the variable only. Right. Chalo, let us go to the next example. Here, I don't want to take the input like this. I want to take the input as a XML file. Somebody is going to enter the XML file. If somebody give XML file, how do you deserialize it? Now, somebody is sending you data in the form of XML file. When someone is sending you data in the form of XML file, how will you deserialize it? If someone sends you the data in the XML file, how do you deserialize it? It is a question. First of all, we need to understand how to upload a file. Second, how to convert the file into XML string. Third, how to deserialize. 3 points are there. How to upload a file. Second, how to deserialize. How to convert the file into string. Third one, how to deserialize. Let us do the 3 steps one by one. I told the first requirement, if someone upload XML file, how do you deserialize? So, how to get the XML file uploaded is the first question. So, let us implement that file. Is the requirement is clear? Somebody is giving you data in the form of XML file, which you are trying to upload it. Mute your mic. Mute your mic. Who is this? Gadi Rasu. Mute your mic. Right. Let us go. This example, public. Any file you are uploading, the body of the file will be in the blob, binary format. Any large files you are trying to upload, it may be attachment, document, file, has to be in the form of blob. What is a blob? Binary format. Then public, right. So I have given public void. So how to convert binary into string? How to convert binary into string? How do you convert the binary into string? Blob dot to string. What is that? You're supposed to give body dot convert the body in the form of string. If you convert the body in the form of string, what is the format we have? Then the story is say, whatever the binary file I received, I converted the binary file in the form of string. Once the string is formed, we know how to deserialize it. How do you deserialize it? Root dot root element. Then
Satish, I just have one question here.
the end ask me.
Could you please tell me? Could you please tell me?
Get child elements. Once you got the child elements, then I'm going to take one by one element. Then we are going to take, here we have taken result equal to root dot get. It's a code. So root dot get attribute. We can give it, or else we can give. Let me make it simple. Root element. Then we are giving childs. How you get the childs? Then c dot get name. So we are getting here. So you are uploading some XML file. You are uploading a file which I am converting into the form of string and using it. If there are any attributes, I can also read the attribute. You result dot get attribute. Or the attribute. If I give a name, I can give name. So this is to get the value of a attribute. This is to get the value of an attribute. Now let us go to the VF page. Then we had input file, then value, then we have a button, output text. So we are uploading a file and we are going to convert the file and display here. So meanwhile, let us create command button, value submit, what is the action I have given, convert, re-render 1, input file, name, value. Attribute line number 3. So we got file name, then we have value, we have a preview, choose a file. We are supposed to upload one XML file. So let me create one XML file. This is the file what I created. Save it as this file. I'm trying to upload it. Choose a file, upload the file, submit. What was that? Conjunction with command button or command link. So what I was supposed to do, I was supposed to invoke. Why it cannot be used there? Because we are supposed to nullify the body of the file. If you don't nullify the body of the file, view state exception will come. As you are uploading a file, if you are using a button, page will re-render. When the page is re-rendered, what will happen? Whatever the file you uploaded, again the file will come back to the view state. Now it is going to occupy more than the view state. View state is only 135 KB. When the file is uploaded, it is going to occupy more than that. There is a reason they ask you to nullify it. So what we do, once you're done with this, I have to give body equal to just to demonstrate. I was taking it. So go to the page. Input file cannot be used with conjunction with command button action link. So fine, no issue with this. I'll do one thing. I'll try to retrieve a file. And use it. We are getting a issue here. Just to complete this example. Let us save this. This is how we got name, first name Satish, last name. This is how we are getting the data. So whatever the data is there in the file, that I have deserialized. If you have a data in the XML format, if somebody is giving you data in the form of XML format, then we are going to get. Now let us say if we generally go with retail, e-commerce or retail, they will be sending the data in the form of XML because a lot of items will be there. So they'll be sending the data in the form of XML. Any lot of e-commerce sites will be giving the response in the form of XML format. If somebody give you XML file, how do you deserialize and use it? Convert the XML file into string, then deserialize it and use it. I hope you are clear with this. Right. So what is the extra step I have given here? Convert the body of the XML file as string.